I hope you enjoyed the music for this film. I think she's a genius. Her name's Mika Levy. She's 26. She's never written a film score before, you know, her attitude with this film was she saw Scarlett's character very much as a rebel, and I said, well, you know, I encouraged her to write it as that, as she felt it, and that's precisely what she did. The music is absolutely, you know, the narrative in a sense. It's a way of experiencing the interior of the character in a way that words aren't present to be able to achieve. And the sound was always a very key component of this film because it, you know, it's interpretive and it's an immersive opportunity to be able to kind of try and create a soundscape where the music and the sound were indistinguishable from one another actually. So it's a labour-intensive but extremely enjoyable part of the process.
Okay, next question just in front here.
A lot of the scenes where you're going and interacting with the real world felt very real, felt like found non-actor performances. To what extent were those not actors, or was it all staged very well?
The question was just about to what extent were the extras in the film actors or non-actors, and what was that experience like?
Well, a lot of there were no. I think there was one professional actor in the film. A very good actor, but the majority of the people that you see in the film, the majority of people that Scarlett's character interacts with are not only they're not actors, but many of them don't even know they're being filmed. The van that Scarlett drives is she's driving. She's got my voice in an earwig, and she's driving, and I'm in the back, and with the director of photography and the first assistant director and the sound man and the monitors that show us the camera angles that are filming simultaneously.
I can never hear anything you said, by the way.
Thank God for that.
Nod and smile.
So the people that you see in the film on the whole are certainly the first two reels of the film when you're hunting, when she's out looking for victims, these people are entirely unaware, and they find themselves, they were walking home, one of them was on his way to McDonald's, the other one was going home, and the interaction was a real one. We felt that the way to tell the film, the way we saw it, was to, like I was saying earlier, is to put it in the real world, and not change it, and be as anonymous to it as possible.
Scarlett, could you talk about the physicality of your performance and how you went about sort of preparing to be in this outer body experience?
Well, I think, you know, I was never really aware of my body until I was aware of my body, I guess. And, I think the most, you know, the thing about this project that was most challenging was kind of sort of letting go of not just my kind of judgments or preconceived ideas of other people, but of myself actually. I mean, I had to be clear of those things, like I said, until I wasn't, until I did start to notice, did sort of have those moments of self-discovery, and I have a theory that Jonathan just made me do as many takes as possible until I was too exhausted to think about it. But, I mean, in some way it was kind of like that, breaking it down, really, because, you know, we didn't have, we kind of knew what we needed, where we needed to go, what we needed to get to, but we didn't always know how to get there, and that just took a lot of tries, you know, and through that process of repetition, you know, the exhaustion of a scene. I think sometimes I would be too exhausted to even have any thought than just how the fuck can I get what I need? I want to go home. And then it was that moment that Jonathan would go, great, I'm done. You know, so.
Okay, just on the aisle here in the white shirt.
My question is for Scarlett. As an actor, when you read a script, And what method do you have?
Question is for Scarlett, and when you read a script, what are you most attracted to, and what grabs you? How do you know you want to work on the project?
I don't know. I mean, I think in this case, and certainly more recently, I think in the past few years, I've been mostly attracted to things that are that I know I can do, but I don't know how to do, and then just kind of go from there. I mean, of course, I can read something that's really perfectly well written and probably ends up being very successful most of the time, but it's never. You know, if I know how to do something and, you know, I can see myself doing it, and then I feel like I have nothing to contribute. Like, it would be better to just hire somebody that did know. And that would be more interesting. And in this case, certainly, it was the idea that, I don't know, I think Jonathan and I were having what seemed like, to me, was a very kind of exciting, inspiring conversation, and the fact that, you know, there was all of these unknowns was something that was really, I thought would be a real adventure, you know, so we just kind of put the trust in each other and, you know, jump off the cliff together, holding hands, I guess. That's what attracts me to something.
Can you go over to this side or just on the aisle here?
How do you produce to shoot the scenes, the nude scenes, and the love?
I think nude scenes and love scenes, how difficult were they?
They were great. Well, I mean, my co-star Michael was wonderful and, you know, made me feel totally secure. He was lovely and really kind of, I mean, he was probably more nervous than I was. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a nudist by trade, contrary to popular belief. But I think you know, the idea of just being able, again, just to kind of recognize that all of these kind of judgments that I placed on myself and sort of let go of them was sort of a therapy anyway. And just knowing that Jonathan wasn't really judging me physically at all, nobody was looking for any kind of physical flaw, you know, he was looking for something in the performance, gave me, you know, the courage to do that. And, you know, in the end, our set felt so intimate that it was, you know, the environment that Jonathan created felt very safe, and also that our crew created was really like such a wonderful family for us. I knew that if, you know, nobody else was, if I didn't feel judged by anybody else, you know, I was only judging myself, so I just had to kind of let go of it. And, it was fine. It was fine.
Let me talk to Jonathan about the process of adapting the novel. For those of you that have read it, it is quite different, and I think, you know, it's genius. So maybe if you could talk about how you went about that and how you approached that.
Well, the novel, we read the novel a long time ago, and you know, the novel was, you know, I enjoyed the novel very much, but I realised quite early on that we didn't, you know, a faithful or illustrative adaptation of it wasn't something that I wanted to make. And the further along we went, the more clear it became that it was about Scarlett's character. It was about her. And the more boiled down to that sort of molten core it became, the clearer it became as a project. So, you know, I think there's a relationship between the book and the film for sure, but it's interpretive. It's a departure. It's inspired by, I suppose.
Okay, just in the middle here.
It took a while between birth and this movie. Were you pursuing other projects, or did it take a while to make this project come together?
It's been a while since between your last film and this film, and could you talk about what you did in that time? Did this one take a long time to put together?
It did take a long time to put together, yes. It took a long time to write, and then it took a long time to find the money to be able to afford to do it as we did, and to have the kind of clarity of what it was about. I think that became obvious to me, I think, when Scarlett and I had a conversation, telephone conversation you mentioned earlier today, actually, which was where I think we both in that conversation kind of committed to each other in a sense, and the kind of journey ahead, you know.
We have time for a couple more questions. Want to get to someone in the balcony if there's anyone? Okay. Just down in front. Yeah.
You talked earlier about a spark in the novel that got you interested in writing this movie. What exactly was that spark, and how did it move you into the feature?
What was the spark in the novel that inspired you to work on the feature?
Well, I'm not sure it wasn't a scene necessarily, or anything. Maybe, I mean, I haven't read the book for so many years, but if I was to go back and read the book, I don't know whether I'd find any particular chapter or paragraph that illustrates that. But it was more of a kind of feeling of identification. The tragedy of the central character was very indelible, and this idea of being alongside her, seeing the world, and therefore re-seeing through her eyes. I felt that was a really powerful, you know, cinematically, you know, the whole idea of, you know, the human gaze. It felt very, you know, very fertile, very exciting, very challenging, very stimulating. And then you go on a journey with that thought.
Okay, one last question. I'm going to go to the back on the aisle here.
I'm wondering between two different morals. One may be don't follow a woman you just met into a black pool. Or two, don't eat elephant men. Now, is there another one? Like, which direction are you taking the audience? Is it pro-alien or pro-human?
The question is about the morality in the film and what direction you think you're taking it in.
I'd like a week to answer that. What do you mean? What direction is the film taking the audience in?
Which moral are you following? The human way or the alien side?
Well, the alien side demonstrates human side. You know, there's something very beautiful that emerges in something empty. You know, there's hope in something very black, very dark. You know, and I think there are scenes in the film which I hope somehow kind of, you know, show the complexity of, you know, human beings. You know, there's brutality, there's tenderness, you know. There's love, there's death, there's sex, there's all sorts of themes in the film, there's all sorts of subjects that she witnesses, that she experiences in some way or another. And, you know, I hope there's a vitality in all of that attracts the character to experiencing some of those herself. So you don't set out with a morality or a theme. It doesn't work like that. You know, if there are any, they come through the cracks of the story you tell.